Welcome back, folks. It's RGR, and Danilo's back with me again. We're going to go through this. We have something special for you. It's draft week, and I'm pretty excited about it. If you're new to RGR, I'm Ryan. I'm going rogue, and Danilo's coming with me. Danilo.
Yeah.
Edit. I have to do that. Give him your Twitter handle before I forget, because I'll mess it up.
My Twitter handle is Danilo. I'm Danilo. My Twitter handle is @ThunderDan88. Twitter and Instagram.
See, that's why I'm just going to go with Thunder from now on. I think that's probably safer.
There you go.
So what we're going to do today, folks, we're going to run through the first round for the AFC West, give you an idea what the Chiefs are going to be up against and how they're going to come back from it. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that sub button, the little bell notification, so you know what's going on. Leave your comment below. This is not recorded live. And definitely leave a thumbs up if you like how this video rolls, not necessarily the results. So just in general, Dan, how are you feeling right now about the draft? It's here in a couple of days. What's going through your head?
I'm feeling excited and very at ease because I've felt I've shared this with you. I've felt for a while now we're one of the genuine best player available teams. We don't have a lot of gaping holes. We have some spots where we could be better, guaranteed, like everybody does. But when you're bringing back 21 of 22 starters, go Brett Veach. You're looking pretty good at the outset. And then it's just bringing guys that can augment. And I don't think we really need to draft anybody that's going to play a lot of meaningful reps, albeit, if we got a high-level corner, that guy might be our number 3 corner, and that's a starter, whether it's Slaughter on the outside. Aside from that, it's going to be rotational guys, and the better quality the rotational guy is, the more reps he's going to get, and the better we're going to be.
Yeah. I think Bashaud Breeland signing really made it so that you can go wherever you need to go. Yeah. It's changed my attitude. So without further ado, folks, we're going to get started. We're going to give you reaction and options for the other teams and how the Chiefs are going to counteract it. This is kind of our league-wide. This is what Brett Veach and the personnel department are doing now. They're going through mocks with the NFL, all kinds of scenarios. So we figured we'd give it a shot too. I'm going to change the screen a little bit. Don't be alarmed. We're going to stay here mostly. There we go.
There we are.
So this is how we're set up. We are using the Draft Mock Machine over at the Draft Network. Go see those guys. They do great work. And we're going to select all of our AFC West teams. As we move forward, we'll go through. The Chiefs have 5 picks, so we'll do 5 rounds. Actually, we're just going to do the first round. What am I talking about?
That's the first round first.
We'll try to make it quick. So we'll start that draft. And as it ticks off here, we're going to see what comes up. And I'm going to zoom out of this just a touch.
Oh, Derek Brown to the Lions. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think that there's a lot of that in terms of possibility. Sure. Now, when we get to the Chargers, we all know that they're a little bit hamstrung. They let Phillip Rivers go. I think quarterback's their number 1 need. I think this happens to agree with me, but Tua Tagovailoa is already going off the board. I'm a little surprised by that. Are you?
I am a little. I mean, it's going along with what a lot of the pundits are saying, but I just don't think. I mean, I think Miami's got enough holes to fill and enough picks in the first round, but I don't think they're going to go quarterback first overall their draft. And the injuries, I mean, that's a lot to put you're going all in on that guy. And if he doesn't recover properly, or if he's injury prone in the pros, which everybody's bigger, stronger, and faster, it's not like they start hitting you with pillows. Right. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I mean, I think Flores wants gamers that can take a beat. I think he likes Fitzmagic because people can say whatever they want about the bearded wonder. The dude's tough. That dude took a beating in Buffalo and in Cincinnati and he just came back for more. And throughout his career, he's been a tough bugger. I don't know if Flores is going to be, he might like Tua as a kid, but I don't know if it's his kind of player.
Yeah. And with him off the board, that brings me back to the Chargers need somebody. And we've heard from a couple of different people with connections around the league, including Matt Miller. There are multiple teams that have Justin Herbert up high. There's a couple of teams supposedly. It is lying season, so you never know. There's a couple of teams that supposedly have him top of the list, like over Burrow. I find that a little hard to believe, but that's just me. But so if it's this selection and 2 of the top 3 quarterbacks are off the board, what do you think the Chargers need to do, and what do they do?
I think they would be dumb not to take Herbert, just because Herbert, Mahomes, and Locke in the AFC West Oakland, get your guns because there's going to be bombs flying all over the AFC West. But that said, the Lions took Brown. That means Okuda's sitting there, and the bad luck they've had with corners over the years, just to grab that primo cornerback would be so tempting. So I mean, it could go either way, but I mean, I think they'd be foolish not to take Herbert. But that's just
I think that they would as well. Yeah, and I agree with you. I'm a little bit surprised by that. And this is random, folks. So we know that there are always something going on there. Let's see if we can make this selection. And I do believe that I can. If I'm going to flip back to the other screen.
2 for 1.
Yeah, right. Always take what you can get. And that way, and I'll show you guys as we do it, that we're going to select Herbert. I agree with you. Okudah goes next, obviously. Not surprised by that in the slightest. I would be hard-pressed right there because I like Justin Herbert. You do too. I don't know that I have him in the top 10. Do you?
I mean, not necessarily. I just it's so tough taking quarterbacks that high. We took one that high. It turned out pretty good. We traded a lot to get them. But I think the Chargers were in a situation where it's if you miss out on him, the next guy is who?
Especially with Tua off the board.
I'm like, yeah. I'm not as sold on Jordan Love as a lot of people are. A lot of people are in a love, no pun intended, a love fest with this guy. I don't see it. I see project with a capital P.
Yeah, I hear you, and I'm actually with you there. I think Tua falls. I think Love falls. I think Tua's got bigger concerns. At least the Raiders don't have to deal with that. I think they are still in the market for a quarterback. We'll talk about them probably on the second pick, but they get to pick at 12. And I think there's a couple of ways they can go. I mean, certainly protecting Carr or whoever's going to be with him, I think is probably a plus. The way that this fell, every single of the top 3 receivers is available. So again, at this position, do you think receivers their top need? I'm not sure I do, but what would you do, and what do you think the Raiders would do?
From the finger I have on the pulse of Raider Nation, from the few friends that I have, because surprisingly enough, some Raider fans are really good people. There's a love fest with wide receiver right now. And I asked my buddy, I said, if you're going to go for a potential, I thought Sammy Watkins, but he said, no, more like DeAndre Hopkins. If you want a potential DeAndre Hopkins or Tyreek Hill, which one do you go for? And the guy that's the potential DeAndre Hopkins is more polished right now, and that's CeeDee Lamb. Whereas Ruggs has got the kind of measurables of Tyreek. He might even be further along in his wide receiver development at this point. I don't know that he's the return guy that Tyreek was. I don't know that he's not. I don't know his return game skills that much. But just the sheer measurements, it would be no-brainer if Al Davis was in charge. He would already be.
He would be Ruggs, right?
They'd be having cocktails right now celebrating. But I think CeeDee Lamb, the kid, just his yak is incredible. I don't want to see it happen. I don't want to see that happen. But I think that CeeDee Lamb's going to be their prize pony for the first pick.
See, I think the opposite. I think it's Ruggs. I think that especially Gruden is probably canning a little bit of Al, and I think Gruden is also being so close with Andy Reid. I think he's looking at Tyreek Hill and wanting his version, more than anything else, right? Right. So I don't know. Let's flip a coin. Should we take Lamb or Ruggs for the Raiders?
You know what? We don't even have to flip a coin. I think you won me over, because I think you can find more guys closer to CeeDee Lamb than you're going to find in the draft that are close to what Ruggs is. The closest guy I can think of off the cuff is Devin Duvernay. That's like a later round pick, and I don't know that he's quite as explosive, but he's pretty close. But Ruggs is the special cat. I think if you're going to go this high, go special.
Yeah, hey, why not?
Let's get Ruggs.
I think it fits. You are absolutely correct. So we do that, folks, and we come down to the next couple of picks, and right after that goes Kinlaw, which I really like him. I'm not sure he's on top 13. I think he might have gone one of these spots, but Jedrick Wills goes, and then we come to the Broncos. The Broncos that have Cortland Sutton, that have Drew Lock, and they need to get him weapons as well. It's listed here as their top priority, and Cody Rourke, the Locked On Broncos host that I talk to fairly often, he believes that the Broncos are locked in on wide receiver as well. So that's where I'm at. Do you agree with that, or do you think they need to look somewhere else?
I hear that. I respect all that, but as a former 10-year semi-pro football player, won a couple championships, big, strong guy that was my best speed was like 4.6 and change, but I could get open on anybody because I knew how to run routes and deceive guys and stuff. There's nothing worse than you're running against a guy who runs a 4.5 or better and should be all over you, but you're getting open on him all day, and you look back, and every time you look back, your quarterback's doing bench presses because there's people on top of him and he's on his back. I don't care how good of a wide receiver you are and how fast you get open. If your quarterback does not have time to throw the football, you're not catching passes. I think they're looking at offensive line. I think John Elway's going, if we don't keep Drew upright, look what we did to them in the first game against Flacco. That's our potential as a team. And Frank Clark wasn't even right yet.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go with your theory. I trust the guys here in town that have a tendency to feel like it's going to be wide receiver, but I like where you're going, and we should do that. So the two guys that are on the board right now, Andrew Thomas, top 10 listed on this particular site, as well as I think it's Josh Jones is the next tackle. Are you tackle specific? Do you like either of those? Do you think the Broncos will go there?
I hear Thomas a lot. I hear a lot of love going around for Thomas, and I just think that they want the surest bet. I mean, if anybody, Elway knows how important it is to have your blind side protected. Be that, I mean, nowadays it's right and left because just the way the rushers are spread across the board. I mean, sure, it'd be nice to have another weapon, but I mean, there are other receivers in this draft. This is a receiver-heavy draft. There's other guys you can get. Like, would it be the worst thing if they went tackle now and got Chase Claypool in round 2 or something along those lines? I don't think they'd be crying too much. Drew Lock's going to be, okay, you got my back, you get the ball. Because it might just be, okay, you're going to get the like that lookout block. Look out!
Well, and what's going to be available to them in the second at offensive tackle in particular, but O-line in general, I think is probably a little bit weaker. So
I think
I'm with you.
Yeah,
let's do Thomas and let them have their guy. So as we let that roll, folks, Thomas. Let's see. Let me throw that back up there for you. So Thomas goes. We give him, give the Broncos the tackle that they can help them. And I think John Elway might enjoy that. Caleb Von Chason goes next to the Falcons. Grant Delpit, I think this is super high for him. I think he's a second rounder, but he comes off to this particular board. Then Josh Jones. And now we're back to the Raiders, their second pick in the first round. And this is where I think it gets really, really interesting. We've given them their wide receiver. They've got Henry Ruggs on board. So where do they go from here if you are making the call?
If I'm making the call and going on what I think that they need, I think you're going with his sparring partner right now for the next 7 to 10 years, hopefully. I think you're going to want to find that Darrell Henderson, Aqib Talib, whatever, Darrell, my brain, the Washington corner, Darrell Green. You're looking for that Darrell Green, Aqib Talib guy that's going to last like a lot of years. That's going to be really good and close to a lockdown if there's such a thing in the league anymore. I think they need to get a corner. I think they need to get a legit number one corner. Otherwise, it's fine if you got Ruggs, but if we got guys that can bottle up your offense once in a while and get to the quarterback and you can't cover our wide receivers, it's going to get ugly fast like it has,
So you think for you, they're happy with Mariota backing up Carr?
For right now, I think they are because I think that, spoiler alert, I think they can get Jalen Hurts in the third round.
Ooh,
I think he might slide. Or I think they'll trade up. If they think that he's not going to be there, I think they've got Jalen Hurts on the mind because I think Gruden wants a little bit of that mobility action.
I do too. I think Belichick does too. I could see Hurts going at 23. I could also see – I'm calling our pick that we'll get to here in a minute for the Chiefs at 32. I'm calling it the Love Hurts pick. Somebody's coming for one of those guys is my thought. So. All right. Who fits best?
What's that?
Who fits best for you? If we're going to go corner and give the Raiders somebody to combat Tyreek Hill, who are you trying to do it with?
Who do we have up? Who are the top three right now?
We've got Gladney. They've got Christian Fulton still on the board, and then Jalen Johnson.
They're all kind of misfits for Tyreek Hill. I mean, who's a fit to cover Tyreek Hill? Honestly, you and the guys around you better fit together.
Yeah, none of those guys are going to be able to keep up with him. The only guy that can really combat him physically. I'm sorry?
Is Fulton the twitchiest?
No. Well, I think he's probably got the deep speed. They're pretty close, he and Gladney. I think Gladney's better in press, and he's smaller. Yeah. So I think Fulton's got a little bit better change of direction. But I think the feisty – I think the Raiders thing, I think Gladney fits the Raiders better.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty bad. I was turned on his video again recently. I watched it months ago, and then somebody put it in my face again recently. I was like, oh, yeah, he is kind of nice. Yeah, man. I mean, that's a coin. You want a coin flip, you can flip a coin on that one. But I think they need to start processing that corner's abilities against Ruggs to get him ready for Tyreek, or at least to get him to know, you know what? These are my weak. Sometimes knowing your weaknesses is the best strength you can have. And I was never the fastest guy. I was never the biggest guy when I played, but I was always a starter, and I was always really solid because I knew what I couldn't do. So if you know what you can't do, you don't put yourself in positions to fail. You go, okay, this guy's on my side of the field now. I'm playing safety on this particular series. Sometimes I went Iron Man, and I knew I had to start jetting back a step or two earlier than some other guys and risk having to come forward rather than let him get past me, because once he's past me, it's over. Right. And if Gladney, those guys know how long it takes them to get up to speed versus how long Tyreek takes to get up to speed, it's going to be, I think, a high IQ corner with some speed and some change of direction is going to be the key.
I think, honestly, that's pretty much the only option. They're not going to take back-to-back wide receivers. They have their guy at running back. That seems to be what's high here. The only other question I have for you, do you think that they go linebacker? They signed Kwiatkowski.
Signed two, didn't they?
Yeah, they brought in a couple of linebackers, so I can't think that they're in that market, especially the guys they brought in are coverage-type guys. So I know a lot of people are mocking linebackers at this pick. I don't think that's actually what's going to happen. So I'm with you. We're going to go Gladney because I think he fits the Raiders a little bit better.
I think they honestly might go for somebody like Yuchi or somebody like that later on to get a little more of a rusher linebacker. Yeah.
They definitely could, especially they're going to try to be more hybrid, I think. So that makes a lot of sense to me. So that brings us to where the Chiefs are going to pick here. Winfield, Lamb,
those first three picks.
Right? Love goes, Jefferson, Fulton, Jeremy Chin. I still think this is a little rich for him, but I think that's a possibility. Mims goes, then Patrick Queen goes off the board. Yetur Gross-Matos, okay.
Yeah,
I think that's a little high for him too, but Jalen Reagor even goes. I'm surprised by that on this particular mock. And then a guy that I think could have been there for the Chiefs is Cesar Ruiz. Looks like he goes the pick before two of those 49ers. So at this point, I think we'd both be happy with taking a trade, right? If we could trade back a few picks.
Yeah, because there's at least four names I saw at the top of that round that I would take any one of those guys, 4 or 5 names. So if we traded back 4 or 5 picks, I wouldn't be too worried about not getting a player we still want and maybe getting 2 more picks in the top 100.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. That'd be my preference. Looking at this board, and let me put this up there so you have it as well.
I think San Francisco's motivation was they're thinking, who do they have at wide receiver? I was Chris Jones. Oh, they just saw Chris Jones in their mind. They're like, get a center, get somebody in the middle.
As it stands right now, that's probably smart.
Pocket collapsing behemoths from the last 10 minutes of the Super Bowl.
Now, funnily, this particular board has my top 3 running backs, not quite my order, but all there. And I know a lot of people are going to be screaming at me right now. I don't know what you're going to say, but I have an idea. I'm not going to take a running back at this spot. What do you?
I'm looking at that board going, I pray and I hope and pray that one of those 3, and there's one of them that I'm not as high. There's so many people that are really high in this one guy that he reminds me of Sony Michel. He could be another Sony Michel. He could be, there was another guy I was thinking of yesterday. He's like, oh, he's like that guy too. And that, it could be great or he could washed out. I won't name names. Went to Georgia. There are 3 really good backs at the top of that thing, but I've talked to my buddy about this, the Raider fan, and I was like, if as much as I like Dobbins and Taylor, if Kenneth Murray's sitting there, I'm not taking anybody other than Kenneth Murray. I'm sorry, but he could be DJ 2.0 for us.
I have to agree. There's no way that I'm going to let him pass. I'd be tempted if there was a corner that was in my top 4. If Fulton was still on the board, I'd look his way. I do think that Jalen, along with Trevon Diggs, are at the top of my second tier. But I agree with you. I think at this point, the Chiefs have to go with something that they can plug in and get some reps from in year one. I think Kenneth Murray's easily the choice. So
he could be the quarterback of your defense year two.
Yeah.
There's no, I mean, and his measurables are there. His instincts are there. His production is there. He's the right size. He's got great speed. I mean, we were so lacking at points last year in that area, in that particular area. It just like showed holes in our defense. And luckily, you know, Rags and Pinnell came in, and it was just like it changed things for us. But I was talking to my buddy the other day. I said, he's like Murray. Watching Murray's tape, he reminds me of like if Reggie Ragland was built like Derek Johnson. That's kind of what Kenneth Murray plays like.
Yeah,
playing
got a little meanness to it with more athleticism. Yeah, I agree.
More sideline to sideline. You don't have to take him off. Like, you know, I like him better than Patrick Queen. A lot of people like Patrick Queen the best. I'm like, 1 year production. There's a lot of those LSU guys that have that going on right now. Burrow, Jefferson, CEH, and Patrick Queen. They're all 1 year wonder guys. I'm like, these guys are boom or bust, baby.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're perennial, championship teams. So.
The guy before you was there still. So
what we end up with is the Chiefs get a player that wasn't there available last time I did a mock last week for you guys. I know Dan's doing a ton of mocks all the time. Make sure you check him out at ThunderDan88, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it right that time. I love it when that happens. My mock board, so that you guys will be able to download it. It'll be on Chiefs Digest. You'll be able to get that. That's going to come out in video form, I believe, on Wednesday or Thursday morning at the very latest. You guys have it.
Okay.
We appreciate all of you joining us today. Dan, any parting notes about how you feel about this went, or how you feel in general about the first round for the Chiefs?
I feel like this went like a lot of them go. It's like a coin flip at the bottom of the round. Which guys are there? I've done ones where all 3 of those running backs are gone. I've done ones where there's no good linebackers left for another 2 rounds. I've done ones where there's no O lineman at the top of the second round, and then all of a sudden the next draft, 2 of the top tackles are sitting there, and I'm just like, we got Fisher and Schwartz for 2 more years, but wouldn't it be nice to get a young guy right behind them to just plug and play, because it's so important, that position.
I will not put it past them at all. That, or even a defensive line. If you get a guy that you want that's high on your board, I won't put it past them taking it.
Well, the big thing I would say on top of all that is, what's your book called? The book on all the athletic matrices and all that.
The Athletic Matrix.
People need to check that out. That's if you like the mainline draft content and college athletes going into the NFL. It's like you'll be like, just turning the pages, like can't click fast enough. It's awesome, man. I love it. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's a labor of love. It's something I've done for a lot of years, and it actually translates to the field quite a bit. So, folks, make sure you check that out at rogueapc.com. If you use the code RGR20, you'll get a big discount. But that's it for us today. We're going to be back with more content this week leading up to the draft. You're going to see Dan with me on draft night as we go through and react to what's going on. So stay tuned for that. Appreciate you guys joining us today. We'll be back with you next time.